Hi, and welcome or welcome back to the Personal Details Podcast. I'm your host, 3, and in this episode, we are looking at auditing self care. We will dive into a look at rest versus relaxation. Are we truly resting, or are we just taking short pauses in between the chaos? We're going to explore the difference and also our regular episode segments. We're tapping into the crystal gem zone. We're discussing how to be busy but still find time to have meaningful self care. I will give you a journal prompt for this journal, a personal anecdote, my wake up call on rest. This is a great episode for just chilling, relaxing, getting your journal, or just let it play in the background while you do something or do nothing, because doing nothing is a choice and it is an action. So I applaud all things. So sit back, get a beverage, get your journal, whatever you need, whatever you want, fix your headphones, and let's get into it. My own encouragement. I am my own support. I am celebrating myself. Let's put that all together. Today, I am my own encouragement. I am my own support. I am celebrating myself. Thank you. Welcome to the Crystal Gem Zone. Today's crystal is lepidolite. Lepidolite. I've been trying to say that word for the longest. Lepidolite. Lepidolite. It's a soft lilac, deep purple, shimmery, mica-like texture stone. It's the ultimate stress-relieving stone from the research that I've found. Its properties include being able to reduce anxiety and promote emotional balance. It encourages deep sleep and relaxation, helps to reduce or release mental overwhelm and intrusive thoughts. It aids in breaking down patterns of stress, worry, and burnout. Lepidolite is rich in lithium, which natural mood stabilizer, making it perfect for times when you feel overstimulated or unable to unwind. This crystal is especially useful for protecting your peace and clearing away stress-related fatigue. I'm going to give you a before bed ritual later in this episode to close out that you can do with today's crystal gem zone. So on to our next segment. Did I mention I have a blog? Well, I do. And I'm going to give you a short snippet of my last blog from March. The title is The Art of Balancing Creativity and Career. Finding a balance when you have multiple passions can feel like a juggling act. But if you're anything like me, it's worth embracing. I wear many hats: a crochet designer, podcast host, author of life elevating journals, and a dedicated public sector professional. Emphasis on dedicated. But how do you successfully balance such diverse passions without losing yourself in the chaos? In this blog post, I'll share my journey, strategies that work, and tips you can apply to manage your own passions and make them thrive. So once again, check out my blog on 3madeit.com. And when you're looking at it on the phone, in the top left corner, there are 3 little lines, the hamburger, as some of us call it. You tap the hamburger and you'll see a menu of choices and you choose blog. This is my third blog post. By the end of this episode, or by the time you hear this, I hope to have a fourth one up, but there are two other episodes entitled Winter in the City, Navigating Life as a Single Woman in New York, and New York City Apartment Shelter in Place Preparation. So far, so good with the blogs. Thank you all for listening, sharing, giving me feedback, and visiting my page, www.3madeit.com. We'll be right back. So, we all need to rest, quote unquote, rest. But if you're constantly exhausted, even after downtime, you may not truly be relaxing. You may not be relaxing. Rest, allegedly, is simply not working. But your mind may still be running. So rest is not working. You're resting. You're at rest. True relaxation, being mentally, emotionally, and physically at ease. So relaxation is almost like a higher level of rest. It's not just about being still. It's about being mentally, emotionally, and physically at ease, the trifactor. So here's a quick test. Do you feel just as exhausted after a lazy day? Meaning you've been laying around, you've been doing so quote unquote nothing, but you're feeling exhausted. 2, are you constantly thinking about what's next, even when you're relaxing? 3, do you wake up feeling like you never really unplugged? If you said yes, you are not alone. Many of us confuse distraction for restoration. Real relaxation requires intentional rest that replenishes our energy. So when we started this year, the episode title was Being Intentional. I am definitely seeing alignment in that this year in my thoughts and movements. But I'm also not getting bogged down if it doesn't work out and I'm not fully intentional. But it is definitely a theme at the back of my movement. So there's obviously a difference between rest and true relaxation. We need to have more true relaxation, which has the trifactor: mental, emotional, and physical ease. Simply not working is not rest. It's not, because you really need to disconnect your mind to be able to wind down, to be able to sleep. This often happens to me a lot. And one thing that I have realized I need to do is build in some strategies. So moving into our next area, strategies for meaningful self-care in a busy life. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a priority. And here are 3 practical ways to build in true rest into our lives. So, first one, identify your real rest deficit. There are several types of rest. Can you believe that? There's physical, sleep, stretching, deep breathing. Physical rest. Mental rest, quieting an overactive mind. 3, sensory, disconnecting from screens and noise. 4, emotional, processing feelings, talking to a friend. 5, social, resting from energy-draining relationships. Again, resting from energy-draining relationships. 6, reigniting inspiration. 7, spiritual, connecting to someone greater than yourself. You got to take away the ego. So there are 7 types of rests. I just listed them. And one thing that I'm going to give a practical one for those of us that spend a lot of time on Teams in our work. Teams has like a virtual disconnect when you finish your day. At the end of the day, if you've activated it, it lets you do a checkout for the day. And it lets you basically disconnect at the end of your day. And it lets you do a breathing exercise. And when you say you're leaving for the day, when your day is over, it in your Viva Insights, it lets you kind of disconnect. Take a deep breath. I think it's 5 deep breaths while you wind down from the day. So it pops up in your activity and it says ready to wrap up, and it says it's a wrap. Take a moment to appreciate your accomplishments and mindfully disconnect. And then I tap on begin my commute. It lets me know my meetings for the next business day. It gives me options to view my tasks. It gives me options to wind down. And the way that it does that is it says, let's spend 1 minute focusing on breathing to help reduce stress. So there's a circle in the middle of the screen. Breathe in and out. In and out. In and out. Breathe in and out. And this happens for 1 minute. And we didn't even hit a minute just now. And then it tells you enjoy the rest of your day. It basically helps you disconnect for those of us that need that actual step or ritual. So that's on Teams. The app has, if you have it on your mobile phone, it has a virtual commute that lets you disconnect. So that's another strategy that I use. Once I've done that, and I can do it on the bus, on the train, on my way home, because it's literally taking 1 minute to breathe in, breathe out. When the minute is over, you say goodbye to your work and you invoke peace. Okay, so that's a real way. Another way is through journaling. Maybe part of your day before you start your commute, or while you're on the train or your express bus. I recommend the express bus. You take, if you're in New York City. For those of us in New York City that can do this, I find the train is a wreck. The train does not help me energize. It does not help me disconnect. It does not help me feel peaceful when I travel via train in the morning. So that could be another thing. Knowing what brings you peace. Knowing what brings you joy in getting rest. So I mentioned before the 7 types of rests. One is to identify your rest deficit, and the list of rest will be in the show notes. The other thing is build micro rest moments into your day. Start your morning with 5 minutes of deep breathing instead of scrolling. Or start off scrolling while deep breathing till you no longer need to scroll. So whatever works for you. Take breaks in between meetings to step outside or stretch. So in between my meetings, I walk around the office, I visit folks, I chit chat a little bit, and then I reconnect. I have to disconnect to reconnect because sometimes, seriously, all that screen time and all that mentally being on in a meeting is just a lot. So, 5 minutes of deep breathing, taking breaks in between meetings, and set an actual no screen time wind down routine, which is what I do with teams. So, I hope you have something that helps you disconnect. There'll be the 7 types of rest in the show notes. Take a look. What's your rest deficit? The next step in the strategy for self-care is set boundaries to protect your rest. Stop glorifying being busy as an identity. How you doing? I'm busy. No, dear. Find something else. Learn to say no to things that drain you. So, if you are the person who always goes to happy hour, but you're drained at the end and you turn around and have to go to work the next day, stop it. Do it less, unless you're really happy with it. But if it's draining you, reduce it. Create tech-free zones, especially before bed. One of the micro moments is tech-free time. Sometimes when I'm at work, most times, 90% of the time, when I'm at work, you cannot reach me on my personal phone because I'm at work. And hopefully, if you need to reach me, you have my work number. So you will pick up the phone and do this old-timey thing of pushing the buttons and waiting for the ring. Yep. So, word to the wise, after 9 o'clock on a work day, you probably won't hear from me till maybe 1 p.m., 2 p.m., or even 6 p.m. because I am not looking at my phone because I know I'll get distracted. I'll veer off to some YouTube, some talk, some Instagram, whatever it is. And I also don't want the mental distractions of others. So those who are not working but feel like, let me distract you during your work time. But during lunch, of course, take time to play games, to catch up on a call, to make sure you say hello. I say my hellos to family in the morning and probably at the end of my day. Okay, so my wake-up call on rest. Why did I have an epiphany of the need to rest? How did I get here? I'll be right back with my personal anecdote. If you have not already visited my website or my Etsy page, you are officially invited to stop by www.etsy.com/shop/3madeit. On my Etsy shop, you'll find my crochet items as well as apparel and accessories. So you can go to Etsy and type in 3madeit, the number 3, and you'll be able to find my shop. And you can go shopping or buy something for a friend. So this show's episode is brought to you by 3madeit. 3madeit crochet actually is the crochet arm of my creativity. You can follow me on Instagram at 3madeit crochet. That's the number 3 made it crochet. Now let's get back into my personal wake-up call when it came to rest. So I'm a real person. I used to think I was resting, but I wasn't. I would take time to step away, even taking a pause to not eat at my desk and I actually would be thinking about work and jotting down ideas. I'd take a trip, but overload my schedule. And I'd take trips with other folks. I am not my best on trips with other folks, no matter how I try. I enjoy their company, but I don't mentally let go. When I take solo trips, however, I am a different person. I, you know, find myself going with the flow, and that is okay. So my wake up call was going on a trip with folks and coming back tired. Another wake up call was not sleeping for an entire night. I literally was just laying in bed in the dark, and my brain was like, well, maybe you can do this. Well, let's look at next week. I wonder if you have time in the morning to do this. Did you get back to that person? La 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 la. The list goes on. And I did not sleep a whole night and still had to get up and, have activity, show up as my best self, tired. And I did that. And what was my wake-up call was the number of incorrect emails I was sending because I was on all the time. So one thing that I also stopped doing as a strategy is trying to reduce responding while I commute. While responding on some people's mobile phone may work for them, I tend to have the most incorrect emails while I'm responding on my mobile. I either don't see the entire context because my brain is on quick mode, and I will look at the first couple of sentences and keep it moving and then respond. So I have stopped doing that because overall I just felt like incorrect emails were not the best representation of myself, and that's not how I wanted to show up to others. So that was my wake-up call, that I need to rest more. As women, as people, not machines, we are slowing down, right? We are aging. And the reality is that we cannot keep up and sustain the pace that we once had. So that was my wake-up call, that I needed to be more intentional with resting, right? No matter how much I relaxed, I had still felt drained, and that's when I realized I wasn't resting with intention. My biggest game changer, scheduling my rest like I scheduled my work. Just like I block off time for meetings, I started blocking off time for deep rest, whether it was a no screen hour, a small, slow morning ritual, or simply saying no to overbooking myself. And let me tell you, the difference is life-changing. So as I mentioned, I started blocking off time for rest. I would wake up in the morning and I did some form of meditation, affirmation, some pause to set the day. And let me tell you, setting up your intentions for the day, it's a game changer. It's like no matter what happens, you remember that in the morning you said, I will be efficient and positive today. I will move with intention and nothing will rock my world. Beautiful. Keep that same energy throughout the day once you've set up the intention for the day. Overbooking. I'm not going if I don't feel like going. I'm sorry, because I don't show up as my best self, and I'll be tired if I use the entire weekend on things that don't feed my soul. Professionally, financially, spiritually, and emotionally. That's where I am in life. Blocking off time for rest. When I get home, I do nothing. Sometimes I used to get home and jump on the computer, finish up some emails, check this, check that. I don't. I disconnect. So that's my personal wake up call and the strategies I use to fix some of that unintentional not resting. Um, the other thing that I do, oh, this year I started off pretty good by setting up my trips. I have been back on crocheting more. Yes, indeed. And I'm finding community. I'm finding um online folks that are crocheting, and I'm not talking about crocheting designers who are making large items. I'm talking about people who are just crocheting because it relaxes them and maybe they make a little side hustle. I'm not in the side hustle phase fully. I mean, I do have an Etsy shop, but I make what I make and I post it. And if you like it, you can purchase it. That's where I'm at. The minute I feel like I'm a mass producing machine, taking multiple orders and subject to the stress of finishing a project in days versus weeks, I cannot. So, I've also started doing pre I set up my calendar of social media posts. So with this podcast and with the Etsy shop and with my journals, I used to budget out time on the weekends to almost every weekend to set up my posts for the week. Now I try to set up the month instead of having to set up an entire week in a weekend. I try to set up the month at least 2 weeks ahead of time. So that's another way, as a busy person, I'm getting more of me time back. Set up things ahead of time, including your clothing before you go to bed, including, um, you know, having the downtime, using your electronic apps and finding peace. I also, shout out to Eva, I use the Calm app that was gifted to me by my good friend and sorority sister, Eva. Um, which I'll talk all about sister friends and walking angels, aka people in our lives, on another episode. Um, I use the Calm app. I use the sleep stories. I put that on before bed and it finishes, and the goal is not to hear the end of the story. And luckily I have not. The Calm app has, not a sponsor, but they should be. The Calm app has sleep stories, meditation. It has movement for when you wake up in the morning so you can move. It has a daily meditation. Jay Shetty is on there, so it has like a moment with Jay. Um, so yeah, hit me up if you're looking for a I can share the Calm app with you to get 30 free days and try it for yourself. I swear that sounded like a commercial, but it's not. But Calm, reach out. I do need a new show sponsor. I'll be right back. One of the things that I juggle, or one of my creative outlets, is journals. I have two current journals on Amazon. The first one is called A Day, One Day at a Time. It's a writing journal that has prompts. It has dated weekly or daily pages that allow you to express yourself. It has pages that will help you with just life skills like setting goals. And my first journal is called the Hibiscus Writing Journal. Love this journal. It is, and I want to shout out Jessica for getting the journal and using it on her recent trip. She sent me a picture of herself using the Hibiscus Writing Journal. I also want to shout out to Dan for also purchasing and supporting. You know who you are. I am floored because I can't tell when someone purchases. I mean, maybe at the end of the month, it sends me my very minute royalty. And I didn't do these journals for the money. I did them as a creative outlet and a way to put something out there that I liked in a way that I like. And I hope you like it too. The One Day at a Time journal is in two sizes. It's in the 8.5 by 11, and it comes in the 7 by 10, which is a great size to take along with you every day. I am working on another two journals. One will be, well, stay tuned. So again, check out my two journals on Amazon. The link to those two journals will be in the show notes, but the title is One Day at a Time and also the Hibiscus Writing Journal. In the front of the journals, you'll find out why they are named what they are named. Okay, back to the episode. So, just want to give you some stats on sleep and rest because this is what the episode is about. So, 35% of adults in the US report getting less than the recommended 7 hours of sleep per night. This comes from the CDC 2023. Sleep deprivation cost the US economy $411 billion annually due to lost productivity and health issues. Rand Corporation 2017. The lack of rest increases the risk of heart disease, obesity, depression, and impaired cognitive function. I can attest to that because when you're tired, forget putting two words together, let alone functioning at your best. And that comes from the National Sleep Foundation of 2023. One key takeaway: rest isn't just about sleep. It's about mental, emotional, and sensory recovery to prevent burnout. So rest isn't about, I need more sleep, I can't wait to get home to my bed. Nope, because that doesn't work for people like me. I can lay in bed and not feel rested. What I need to do is de-stress, disconnect, take time to not do anything intentionally. With that, there will also be some book recommendations in the show notes. One book is called Deep Rest and Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. It's called Why We Sleep. And it takes a dive into the science of sleep, how it impacts our health, and practical ways to improve sleep quality. Book number 2, The Sleep Revolution, Arianna Huffington. Arianna Huffington explores the global sleep crisis, how modern culture neglects rest, and ways to reclaim restorative sleep. Intentional Rest and Burnout Prevention, book number 3. This book is called Sacred Rest. Recover your life, renew your energy, restore your sanity. Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. This book introduces 7 types of rest and how to incorporate each into your life for true restoration. Book 4, Why You Get More Done When You Work Less, by Alex Sujong Kim Pang. That book explains how to deliberate rest as essential for productivity, creativity, and long-term well-being. And our final book, The Miracle of Mindfulness, by Tochi Hanan. The book will be in the show notes. I practiced so hard. I had that, and I don't know why when I'm reading it, it doesn't look like it's supposed to. But anyway, that book is a powerful guide to practicing mindful rest to bring more peace and presence into daily life. And then the final book, I lied, is The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. It's called Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle by Emily Nagashi and Amelia Nagashi. Discusses emotional exhaustion, stress recovery, and the importance of real rest for women. 6 books, all of different varieties, from the technical to the emotional to the simple practical guides. I hope this was helpful. Check out the show notes for more information. And now to do a little bit of shout outs to our friends of the show. Welcome to the Personal Details segment of the Personal Details podcast. So, there's always a segment where I give you an update on my journey of health or, my journey on health. So, I haven't weighed myself, but I will sometime in June. But I've definitely lost some weight. I have been doing a morning and evening um, workout session, whether it's walking in place, dancing in place, listening to music, or just taking that extra walk um, after or before work. And so far, so good. I've also been using my vibration plate. I'm up to level 3. I started at level 1. I could barely stay on. So I stand on it, I put my headphones on, and I'm moving my arms. It's vibrating my legs, and you move in different ways and it targets different parts of your body. A vibration plate I recommend highly. I got a second one and I hope to put it under my desk at work. Shh, don't tell anyone. And keeps the lymphatic system moving, the fluids around your body, keeping good flow, because I do sit a lot of the 7, 8 hours that I'm at work. And if I arrive early, sometimes I'm doing a 10-hour day, which is not great. So I will be using my vibration plate, and I have been, and I've seen the results of toning, of better sleep, and just feeling like I took time to do something. I can do my vibration while crocheting. I sound like an ad, but I'm not. That's my personal detail update. That's what's been helping me um, find space for rest and find space for creativity. So I've been able to crochet. I've been able to get to bed and wake up and work full weeks of in-person work, no remote time. Because that's what's working for me right now. I'll be back to remote on a consistent basis when that works for me. Also, with self care, or with my personal details, I have been hanging out with some friends. I have been supporting others. And during the month of March, I must say, I saw more of my sorority sisters than I have in many other months. I got to hang out with Eva. I got to go to Sip and Paint. I got to go to our regional meeting. I got to host and facilitate with my sorority sister, Jahaira de Leon. Um, I am going to leave her information in the show notes. She is a powerhouse, and I knew it, of course. It's just so good to work alongside someone that you knew was great all along, and then you see them in action and you're like, wow, I get to know that woman. So shout out to you, Jadi, and shout out to Transcends. I want to make sure I get it right and tell you, or put her Instagram in the show notes, right? So that is, oh my goodness. Give me Transcends Life. Alternative and holistic health service, connecting agencies and community members to services that promote holistic well-being. So today's shout out goes to Jadi, aka Jahaira de Leon. She is just doing great things along with her partners over there at Transcends Life. And again, it will be in the show notes. Back to my personal detail. So yeah, I've been hanging out with Eva. I've attended events where I could. I got to paint. I went to the Women's Day, Naomi's Wish, and I hosted Naomi's Wish. I was a facilitator. And this is probably, I forgot how many times I've attended, but this one was really great. I bring my mom. Other people bring their mom. There are coworkers there. There are people I know from other walks of life there. So it grows bigger every year. Definitely want to check it out. I found a new spot in Queens that is a great spot for events. I'm following them on Instagram. If you follow me, you'll eventually see them. And my Instagram for the podcast is The Personal Details Podcast. One long word. So follow me there as well. Give me feedback. Give me some likes. Send me a DM. If you'd like to be on the show, I'm talking to you. We said we would do this episode. You know who you are. Let's just connect and get this thing done because I think you'd make a great co-host. So, I do have some time coming up that I'm taking off for my own personal details. I've taken time to hang out with friends that I haven't seen in a while. So that's always a plus. But overall, I am still losing some weight. And as I lose weight, I'm trying to make sure I tone. And I just want to thank you all for the listens, the likes. And we'll be right back with the wrap up. So in closing, let's do a quick self-care audit together. 1, true rest is about restoring energy, not just taking breaks. The lepidolite is a crystal that helps promote deep relaxation. Setting boundaries around your time and energy is self-care. Being intentional about your rest is the key to real renewal. So the other thing I said was I would give you a strategy for relaxation using today's crystal gem zone, lepidolite. So before bed, hold a piece of lepidolite in your hand and repeat, I allow myself to fully disconnect. My mind, body, and spirit deserve peace. Breathe deeply and imagine yourself surrounded by soft lilac light, letting go of all tension. Let lepidolite work its magic. Let go of tension, one exhale at a time. Relax, release, repeat. Again, if you're trying to write this down, you're saying, I allow myself to fully disconnect. My mind, body, and spirit deserve peace. Words are powerful. Sometimes we need to say them, read them, whatever it takes. I do want to say today's episode was very reflective for me. And it really was hard because I had to really think about my rest. And when I don't have a clear mind, I cannot rest. One thing I'll challenge you this week is to prioritize true rest. Challenge yourself to do one thing differently this week, whether you're setting a bedtime routine, putting your phone away an hour before bed, or carrying a crystal to remind yourself to slow down. Let's continue the conversation. DM me your thoughts on Instagram. Share this episode with a friend. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to rate and review this podcast. Until next time, honor your need for rest and take care of yourself the right way. I will be trying to do the same. Not trying, I will be doing the same. You don't have to earn rest. You deserve it. I don't have to earn rest. I deserve it. So we're going to be intentional, honor our energy, and give ourselves the real relaxation we need. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of the Personal Details Podcast, and I hope you've found yourself in a great place. Thanks for listening. Come back again soon. Ciao. That's it. That's a wrap. Enjoy the music.